So we all stay up really late, doing nothing.
It's hard to like find things to do while you're in lockdown. What's lockdown been like? How long have you been in lockdown for?
So we went into lockdown last Tuesday. Well, yeah, 12 o'clock Tuesday night sort of thing. So from Wednesday through till next Wednesday is when they're talking on Monday when it might like what happens or whatever, but we're in lockdown till next Wednesday at this stage, and then we'll probably go down to like level 4 or level 3 because we're at level 4 at the moment now. But who knows? Doesn't really bother me. Like I can work from home. It's those that aren't getting paid that's the shit thing.
Yeah, that's really rough. It's
Yeah.
yeah, no,
Well, because what happened with you when like Queensland had its like snap lockdown while you were up?
So I
Nothing.
was home from work when that happened, but
Oh,
basically
you're right.
that happened on Friday. Oh, sorry, Saturday morning because I was meant to go watch a Muay Thai show that night and go to do things with some friends and all that, and just 10 o'clock
Yeah.
that morning was just like, yeah, we're in a snap lockdown from 4 o'clock this afternoon. I ended up not doing anything. Like I couldn't even see my mum because she lived more than 5 kilometers away.
Yeah.
So just basically stayed at home and chilled out for a couple of days, but I could still go to work, which was good, and still got a flight up to Mackay and everything. So, yeah,
Yeah.
didn't like affect my work. It just affected me a bit,
Yeah. 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 Your social life, basically.
pretty much. Yeah,
Essentially. Yeah. There's the stay hydrated counter.
yeah. I've been like drinking a lot less water since I've been home, so I've been trying really, really hard to drink like 3-4 liters a day. It's
Yeah,
just
I've
something.
been similar as well because we need to get a water filter on our because we're on tank water, so
Yeah,
you need to have filtered water, otherwise like it's pretty risky. But
yeah, yeah.
obviously we can't go buy the water filters while we're in lockdown because it's not seen as an essential store. So
That's crazy.
yeah,
So
so we're
bottled
just drinking
water or
bottled water. Yeah,
yeah.
bottled water, but bottled water goes fast in a house full of like 6 people.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Where I am is like a mining camp, and
Yeah,
I got some videos that I'll throw up on TikTok and stuff like that. But the water there, the only water you have in your room is like shower water or like tap water, and the tap water there is like pretty red hot to drink from.
yeah.
And
You
say
should
like,
get one of those. You should get one of those filter bottle things.
well, they have like fountains in the laundries and stuff, like those
Yeah,
chill masters or whatever they're called. So I just normally fill
yeah,
up
yeah,
2 or 3 bottles a night and yeah,
yeah.
use that.
Now, see, I've that's been one of my investments that I've been like considering getting for a while is just getting a filtered bottle because I do drink a lot of water, so it's just like why not
You know what the dream
actually
is?
drop some money? The
So,
dream. What's the dream?
the dream is a fridge with the water on the door. Like with the
I've
crushed
got one of
ice.
those in Aussie. Oh,
There,
we don't have crushed ice. We've got the water there.
yeah, I mean, it's a dream. Just the water is just, it's so easy to drink water when it's on your fridge door, I reckon.
Doesn't doesn't your fridge have it?
Nah.
It's just not set up.
No, it doesn't have one at all.
Oh, I swear it did at some stage.
No, we've had that fridge since I moved into this house.
Yeah,
And it's like, yeah, nothing on the door. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, okay. Oh, what's next? And we've started recording, I'm guessing.
Yeah, we have. Next is
Give us the
introducing the.
intro.
Okay, I'll introduce the podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Hope you enjoyed our 5-minute hydration ramble. It's making me thirsty again already. I'm Brandozer and joined again by KiwiLucas, our co-host.
I, so I don't even know where to start from there. That was a riveting start, you know.
Look,
Bring in the opposite of heat.
I feel like if we go for an hour long, you have to start here, and then like a roller coaster. You know what I mean? You don't start a roller coaster strong.
We peak quite early sometimes, and the
We
like
we
back
peaked.
half ends up. Yeah, we peaked quite early in some of the episodes, and it just kind of drops off, and the last 10 minutes ends up rambling. And that's when I just kind of go like, "Are we going to wrap this thing up?" But
You should see the messages he sent.
yeah,
He's like, "Hurry up and fucking nah."
you
What are
know,
we
you got
starting?
to do what you got to do. Um,
I mean, I bought a
well,
PS5. That's pretty big news.
yeah, yeah, the continuation of your PS5 saga, the
Got
big boy.
one. It's so big. It's so impractically big. It's so cool though. Like just
Yeah,
going from PC to next gen console. There's already such a difference in like I've only played about 2 hours worth of video games on it, but it's just blown me away how cool it is.
yeah,
And just playing a game at like, and my monitor's 3K or 2K, whatever, so it's like 2K and 120 frames or 60 frames, whatever it's supposed to be. It's just a
yeah,
noticeable difference compared to the PS4 and using a 1080 in my old computer and stuff like that. So it's just, yeah, it's blown me away.
yeah. Well, that's like because I've got the Series X, and like if I'm using a good TV, I definitely notice the difference. But at the moment, I've got a shitty TV, so it's just kind of like, you know, there's no real point having it at like load speeds, and then my computer's got better load speeds. So, but there is that certain novelty of having, you know, the big box in the room. It's like it's the same with when you first get a PC and that sort of thing. It's like the new toy is always going to be so cool, and I love that. Like it sucks that we like as like consumers. That's what like the new thing is always going to be better, even if it isn't. You know?
No, I think that's a credit to fucking whoever invented marketing back in the day of making sure that consumption, like humans, the way that we treat products is new is better, regardless of
Yeah.
the circumstances.
It's a How I Met Your Mother quote. New is always better.
I haven't seen that show in years. I don't think I can quote it properly at all.
I watch it far too regularly.
You'd say it's your favorite sitcom, right?
Yeah, probably.
Up there with The Office.
Yeah, I've watched it more than The Office, and I love The Office. It's just I think How I Met Your Mother's been one of those ones that's just it's always been accessible to me. Like I've just always been able to watch it, so it just puts it up on that like easy to watch sort of thing, and it's like I've got it at a stage where I can like put it on as just background noise because I know exactly what happens.
I feel like I'm the same
So
with Community. I think Community is definitely my favorite sitcom.
yeah,
And I don't know why. It's just so like wacky and out there compared to all the other like sitcoms there are.
because you like that, and you like Always Sunny as well, though.
Yeah, I do. Always Sunny's just like crude though. It's
Yeah,
you can't always watch that show. It's just a bit too like crude and yeah.
yeah. I haven't really like I've watched bits and pieces of both of them, and it's like it's not that it's not my humor. It's as I was saying before, it's like it's just got to be available to me, and like
Yeah.
I am the worst at when it comes to like getting into a new series that I'm like somewhat interested in. I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll watch this episode, and then it's just like, all right, what am I going to do now? And I just forget about it for like weeks on end.
See, I'm 100% the same, but for anime. But I feel like because I watch it in Japanese with subtitles, you need to be like switched on. Not switch. That makes
Yeah.
it sound weird, but you need to be like
No, I
focused on
understand.
anime.
Yeah.
You can't like chill on your phone and like look at other things without missing so much in a scene. So you got to be
Yeah.
like involved like emotionally in anime. So that I've got so much to that I want to watch, like seasons of different shows that I just
Yeah.
haven't bothered watching because it's an investment more than anything. So
Yeah, well, that's like I started watching One Piece because I enjoy One Piece, and I enjoyed it when I was younger, but like it's one of those things that because of filler episodes and that sort of thing, you just start to like if you're not paying attention, you just lose interest so quickly.
yeah, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Do you remember the One Piece rap at all?
No, I don't at all.
Oh, I should jog your memory. I should send that to you. We need better production on this podcast so we can play the One Piece rap, but probably don't want to play it anyway because it'll get copyright
Copyright.
stricken. I'll have to send it
Just
to you after the
right up
podcast.
here, we're gonna have the link.
Yeah, I don't edit this thing. It's crazy. I basically put it up on YouTube as is. It's almost as raw as it gets. Maybe the first 30 seconds get cut out before we start actually
Not to get
speaking.
edited podcast.
Not to get edited.
Yeah.
Is it the No Eds podcast?
What else? What else is new this sort of week? Um, well, I watched SummerSlam today, and that had like a couple big returns. But like for me, that like I don't know how many people are wrestling fans, but that kind of got eclipsed by like yesterday because oh mate,
CM Punk! CM Punk!
yeah,
CM Punk!
Chick Magnet Punk is back.
That was
Wow.
huge.
Oh yeah, and he had like a 9 minute just like off the top of his head,
Promo
just
of.
yeah promo. Oh
Yeah.
man, it was really heartfelt and like he like actually threw like all his emotions on and like kind of like briefly touched on his time in WWE, but it was like I don't want to give any like that. Like I thought he handled that sort of side of things brilliantly because it's like he could have easily gone in and just talked about how like shit WWE was, but instead he was just like, I was really depressed at this other place. Let's move on. This is me. This is what I did before. This is what I'm doing now. It's like, fuck yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm not the biggest Punk fan. I think I never was watching wrestling around the time that he really, really rose to the top of WWE. But it's
Yeah.
like fans are crying, everyone's cheering, like he's doing
Yeah.
this heartfelt promo and he owns it and that's man,
Yeah.
he's going to be a superstar. He's going to topple Jericho in that promotion, I reckon. Or
And he's
Moxley
he's
and Kenny
going.
Omega.
He called out like Darby Allin, who's like an up and comer. So like, I hope they're going to use him well, in that it's like he's actually going to be putting these guys over and that sort of thing. Even if he like wins the feud and that sort of thing, because I feel like he needs to build momentum still, like as a performer. But like, he also needs to be aware that he's now one of the old guys, and it's like I don't want it to be like WWE where it's just old guys coming in and just taking over. Even
Or
though,
WCW.
yeah, yeah,
Gives you a big WCW
WWE
vibe.
WWE actually made like the right call in like 2 matches today, which I kind of thought they might in at least one of them not. So like spoilers for anyone that cares, which I doubt there's many. Um, but like the Bobby Lashley versus Goldberg match, that was fucking terrible. Um, MVP like tapped him in the back of the like tapped Goldberg in the back of the leg, and it looked like he'd been shot. And then just Bobby Lashley just mauled him for like 5 minutes after that. But like before that, like Goldberg had the upper hand. It's like, dude, you're fucking old. Like, he, like, I they did a spot, and I like 100% don't know if it was like intentional or not, but he went to get Bobby up for the jackhammer and like struggled and couldn't do it. I was like, oh, please don't drop him on
Oh,
his head again
no.
like he did to
Drew? Did he drop Drew on his head?
Undertaker.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I was just like I don't know if they were like doing that as like a little like joke, but it genuinely like I was like, no, this guy's great. And then they had what's his name, Roman versus John Cena, which I think Roman winning was the right decision as well. Like John Cena's never gonna stay in WWE forever again. He's just gonna do his, you know,
Bits and pieces here and there.
in and out and head back to Hollywood and do good shit like the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I watched that last night.
Yeah.
I
I thoroughly enjoyed him in it.
You're probably having an earlier segue because we're not even finished talking about CM Punk. But no,
Yeah.
I watched Suicide Squad last night and it was a pretty good film actually.
Yeah, yeah. Like, it was just one of those dumb fun comedies, like, and it actually had like a purpose, and like they took like characters that can be, you know, dreary and boring like they were in the first film, and just made them exciting again. Or like premise to the characters. I know it was different cast and all that, but yeah.
I wrote to you about it last night. I sent you a message. I don't know how I feel about the villains still.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Should we do like a non-spoiler section, then do like a bit of a spoilers and just talk about it for a bit?
Well, Starro's in the trailer, so it's not really.
Oh, okay. There you go. Yeah. I don't know. Like he's supposed to be Justice League level threat. I thought Starro.
Yeah, but he's always looked dumb. You know, like. I could not see him being in a Justice League movie because they take Justice League seriously. And I don't see, like, for him to be in a movie, that's like the perfect type of movie where it's like, hey, this guy's dumb, but look, he's actually like a threat. And the way they went about it was, I thought, somewhat decent.
Yeah. I feel like the way he was portrayed in the film anyway, Superman could have just fucking laserized him and he'd die anyway, so it's like I get
but
why
Superman was in the ICU, man.
Yeah, I didn't know Bloodsport was that big of like a dude in the comics and stuff like that.
He's really not. It's just they needed someone to take over for
they needed Will Smith 2.0.
Yeah.
See, I feel like DC uses their actors so wrong because could you imagine an Idris Elba as Jon Stewart?
Yeah.
Could you see that? And it's just
100%.
Nah, let's just make him fucking Bloodsport and make a Suicide Squad movie. And he's not the only one.
You know, originally they were gonna there's concept art showing this, so apparently they were gonna have Deathstroke as like the leader of that team. Like Joe Manganiello's Deathstroke, which he is the most like criminally underused character in that universe, I think, because he shows up for like a post-credit scene and that's it.
And he's so fucking cool as Deathstroke too. Like Deathstroke's up there as one of my favorite villains, and he's just like he's got such a Deathstroke look and the feel in that one post-credit scene that I fucking want to like see a Deathstroke movie, or at least he's a villain in a Batman movie or something.
Well, like I like Deathstroke to the point that I watched far too much of Arrow than it's actually like justified, because like Manu Bennett, the guy that played Deathstroke on that, he was really good as well, and they actually handled Deathstroke pretty well in that series. So it was like, oh yeah, I'll follow this just for him. But it's embarrassing to say that like Deathstroke's being used better in like the whole like CW universe than he is in the like movie universe.
I feel like it's embarrassing to say that about almost all the villains from those TV shows. Like,
yeah,
at least their TV shows are doing okay for their audience. I'm not a fan of them because I just think they're boring.
you can just tell some of the like because the CGI is like you can tell when they're writing and making this series like they've had to push it out on such a quick like turnaround. It's like you feel sorry for some of the like CGI guys because you can see they put a lot of time into some things, and then other things it's like, hey, you can make this on a computer in the 90s and it looks better. Like, yeah,
Toaster quality CGI.
yeah. It's like, man, it's like because there is certain characters and like I don't want to badmouth like their what you call it, their production team or whatever, but like there's certain characters that are just done well, and others that are just like, yeah, slapped together.
So you know who did do well in Suicide Squad? Just speaking of like actors doing a good job,
Yeah,
John Cena was phenomenal. I
yeah,
thought he was the best part of the movie by far.
and he's getting his own TV show, so
Which, if you watch the movie, I didn't understand how he would, and then it explains it and everything. So, yeah, I mean, I'm definitely
yeah,
excited for a TV show. I think that's characters like Peacemaker, who's just this like weird D-level character who's goofy and, um, yeah, I think that works for a TV show. I think the whole
yeah,
reason, by the way, the Suicide Squad works is because everyone's just a fucking idiot. Everybody in
yeah,
that
yeah.
movie
No,
is
no one's taken too seriously. Even like the
nah.
serious characters are
Like Rick Flag is
open to
still a
jokes.
fucking idiot. like,
Yeah,
Bloodsport and John Cena's character, Peacemaker, yeah. They're just competing with each other to do like coolest shit halfway through the
yeah,
film. And it's probably one of the best scenes because they're both just fucking morons trying to
yeah.
outkill each other. And yeah, it's just, yeah, it works.
Yeah, no, it's like that definitely was. That's the James Gunn touch of like he never takes characters too seriously when it's like those dumb characters, and I think he does so well. And like he did the same with Guardians of the Galaxy. Like he was like these are dumb characters. I'm gonna make them dumb. Like
Like
why
Polka Dot
not?
Man
Like
and shit.
yeah, Polka Dot Man was cool. Ratcatcher 2, dude.
King,
Nanawe, like King
yeah, King
Shark, like
Shark.
Plus, it's like I keep seeing like memes and like gifs and shit all over the internet with him. So he's taken over.
Oh man, my brothers watched the movie, and then like the whole way in the car, we're just doing this. We're going fake mustache. Like, it's a slight spoiler, by the way. And I'm not even sorry because it's so funny. Yeah, no, I think
Yeah,
like it just works because he's like, yeah, let's just have a fun movie, and I think that's like a good reflection of what's to come from DC too. Maybe, hopefully,
like
fingers crossed.
the craziest part is that Sylvester Stallone.
I
Like
forgot. I knew before I watched the movie, and then afterwards it came up, and I'm like, oh shit, that was Sylvester Stallone.
yeah, there's like a scene where he's like happily running and like, and I really want to see like Sylvester Stallone in the booth doing that. Like
Just like
I
still
just
running and
cannot
shit.
picture. I just cannot picture him like doing the actions while he's voicing it. Like I can't see him sitting still doing it because like it's like happily like bounding along and that sort of thing. I'm like, far out. That'd be funny to see.
I know we're getting a bit off topic, which is basically it should be called the off topic political podcast, but
I've definitely heard of an off-topic podcast before.
oh, that already exists, doesn't it?
Hmm.
It makes sense, because
Yeah.
everyone always gets off topic. But anyway, have you ever seen that episode of South Park where they do this human centipede?
Oh,
And
the
it's
human centipede.
I haven't actually seen the whole episode. I've just seen this
Yeah.
shorts, and it's the Asian dude Kyle and someone else on the end, and like
Yeah.
the booth recording for that is the funniest thing I've ever seen. If you've seen it, have you seen it?
No,
I
I
can,
haven't. I haven't.
I'd pull it up
Like,
now,
yeah.
but it's just
Yeah.
who are the Trey Stone and Matt Parker or whatever? It's
Yeah.
them, and they're trying to one of them's doing this Asian accent. And he's like, Okay, Kyle, would you like me to eat cuttlefish and asparagus or vanilla paste? And they're just losing their minds because they can't get through this fucking stupid scene. And it's so much funnier watching the behind the scenes and the actual stupid scene from the show.
You know, they're like, I don't like because I know you've listened to the shorts. You know, they're being made into an iPad. Eh?
Is that what it is?
That's like it's the human Sentai pad. So it's like the three people, and then there's an iPad attached on the end.
For fuck's sake! Alright, I need to watch that episode.
It's definitely worth a watch.
Maybe I have
It's
seen it just years ago.
they got like no, it's worth a watch.
What's a Oh, you go on.
What I was gonna say is because we were talking about like James Gunn and Guardians of the Galaxy and all that sort of thing. I know you were interested about my like Stormbreaker theory.
Yeah, no, you messaged me that one too, and I definitely said save it for the podcast. So
yeah,
I'm all ears for this one. I'm interested to hear your Stormbreaker theory.
Yeah, so going now, like, because I'm in lockdown, I like started watching a bunch of Marvel movies again, and I watched like Ragnarok, and I watched the two Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, why would like Thor have a weapon named Stormbreaker? Like, it just doesn't make sense when his last hammer was Mjolnir. It's like a proper, Norse name and everything like that. I was like, Stormbreaker just doesn't seem right. Like you'd think it'd be for something else. So I was like, well, maybe, and I don't know if there's any backing in the comics or anything for this. This is completely my theory sort of thing. But I think the original design for Stormbreaker was made to kill Thor, the Storm. So the Stormbreaker was made to kill like the God of Thunder. And I was thinking like, you know how Odin kind of like got rid of Hela, locked her up or whatever,
Yeah.
and that sort of thing. Well, at the start of like Thor, the first one, it took me years to watch the first one.
I don't blame
I don't
you.
blame anyone. Yeah, but yeah, the start of the first Thor movie, like basically he's being looked at similar to Hela, in that it's like all he's worried about is like conquering and having fun and getting pissed and all that sort of thing, and he has like no. Basically, he's going down the same path as Hela. So like I was thinking, maybe Odin in his own time went to Nidavellir and got Eitri to make the Stormbreaker. And it was like if Thor ever got out of control, he was going to have this weapon to be able to stop Thor. And that was just, yeah.
That's like it's really mind blowing because it's not something that is presented to us as the audience, but it makes sense when you say it too.
Yeah. This is like, as we were saying before, so this was me sitting down, barely paying attention, and so I'm thinking about other things. I'm like, oh yeah, no, I just thought it'd be something interesting to think about, and I'd love like anyone watching if they have any ideas or anything like that, or if they know anything in like backings in the comics, if that's true, would be really cool. But yeah.
Oh, if there's a Mega Thor nerd, let us know in the comments what you think of this theory. Hopefully we can get to the bottom of this, because I actually really like that idea, because it isn't so Stormbreaker would actually be like, what would you call a weapon to, as like a code name to get rid of Thor or stop Thor, or and it's just, I think if Thor, like obviously why Thor is sent to Earth in the first place, and it's not something we realize till the third movie, but why he gets banished in the first movie is because he can't end up like Hela, like that's already happened, and she got banished. So yeah, it's a really cool theory actually.
Yeah, so
that should be oh, go on.
No, you go.
I was just saying that should be a Marvel what if, I think. Have you seen those?
I've watched the first couple. There's like, and I know it's the whole point of the series, but it's just like, it's like when they dropped the Avengers game, the first trailer. It's like everything is so close but so wrong. You know, like you
Yeah,
just look
yeah.
at it and your brain says, this is not right. Well, that's for me. Like I'm looking at these characters and it's like their voices are wrong. There's all this like the character models look different because obviously they're taking over different roles and that sort of thing. And it's just like it's almost like the uncanny valley, but it's not. I don't know. It's just something's not right when you're watching them. Like they're good stories, but like it's still just it's just not cricket. You know,
Yeah, I know what you
it just
mean. I
doesn't
don't
feel
think
right.
that's my issue with it because I'm a huge fan of what ifs and crazy
Yeah,
like out there Marvel stuff that happens, and I'm kind of just like not happy with the way that they've been presented to us, like in this
yeah,
weird 20 minute or maybe like nearly half an hour long one-offs so far. It's kind
yeah,
of like you need to flush it out a bit more, and I'm not saying make a feature-length film every time, but maybe give us a bit more, especially in the second episode. Spoilers again for anyone watching that hasn't seen them, but Thanos is a good guy, or he's a Ravager, and he teams up with. The premise for the second episode is what if they took T'Challa to become Star Lord instead of Peter Quill. And so they take T'Challa and he becomes Star Lord, cut like 20, 30 years in the future, and Thanos is just a part of his crew. And he's
yeah,
kind of weirdly placed there. Like, it's such an odd,
yeah,
not
yeah,
right, not. I need to know how and why, not just this one off line about how it's sometimes a good argument's the best weapon. Like,
yeah.
it confuses me quite a bit.
The biggest thing I thought from that episode was like the close to it. I won't really talk about it, but I was like, that actually sets up like future episodes if you know what I'm talking about. I don't really want to spoil it because it is the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the dynasty.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
a.
yeah,
I mean, I think it all branches off what we saw at the end of Loki, and these different
yeah,
branching timelines and things like that are now happening and forming, and that's kind of where this show fits, which is kind of cool to see. But I just want, like,
yeah,
I think being a comic book fan and not just a Marvel Universe fan, I want to see bigger what ifs, if that makes sense. Like, I want to
yeah.
see what if. Uh, hmm. I can't even think of one right now. What if?
What if Captain America like didn't stay an old man, sort of thing?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
Or what if?
he
Who's the?
saved Black Widow.
Yeah, what if Black Widow was alive and no one had to
Yeah,
die or something? Or what if Iron Man didn't die?
yeah.
Maybe even bigger than that. Like, what if Loki
Thanos
died
was one.
in
Or,
the?
yeah,
I don't know. Like, you could do 100 million what ifs, and that might be part of their problem as well. Is they're trying to figure out the best what ifs for everybody to watch, not for us to watch, not for people who just
yeah,
watch the
yeah.
movies watch. So I get it's probably a hard job, and
Yeah,
yeah,
see, that's why I think the the what ifs suit a TV show, but I'd be like, and I think there are a couple episodes do flow into each other. I think that's what they're meant to be doing. But I would have released it so like, just say the first three episodes were about like Captain America, the next three episodes are about like T'Challa in space and that sort of shit, rather than having like we got this episode, and that way you can please your because this sort of series is for your more hardcore fans, I reckon. And then it's gonna get a better like it's gonna get an overall appeal just because it's on Disney Plus. Like
yeah,
a lot of people will watch it like, hey, this is Marvel, but I know there's quite a few things. Like I know my flatmates, none of them have watched Loki, Winter Soldier, or WandaVision, but they all love the movies. It's like it's very easy not to watch these things if you're
yeah,
not a big fan. Yeah.
yeah. I think that's
What's
fair.
yeah.
What are you gonna say?
I don't. I was thinking about like just being. It's really weird. I was thinking about like the whole like being the biggest fan of something, and that's why like why shit like this happens, and that's made me think about the Bionicle game. It's so off topic, but that's just how my brain was working there. So for those who don't know, like Bionicles is like it's a Lego product from like early 2000s sort of thing, and it was like these like robot like android sort of things, and I just really liked Lego and I really liked Bionicles as a kid, and I seen that like recently that they announced there's a Bionicle game coming, and we found out it's not officially licensed, but it looks cool, man. Like they look like they've spent their time and that sort of thing. It's like
Man, there
I
are
like
two
love,
people
yeah.
who I know that would actually be keen for this game. You and Jason, and that's it. No one else. I think
Hey,
they made this game for you too.
there's a fan base. There's a I'm like still in a Facebook group that I get notifications for every now and again, and it's just like it's a Bionicle like shit posting page, and I'm pretty sure Jason invited me to it, and it's literally you just see people they're like, "Hey, I made this Bionicle. Is it cool?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's fucking cool."
So like
Like,
people make their own like Bionicle characters now with different
yep,
parts and stuff. Yeah.
yep. So they either like put together like old parts, and or they like 3D print their own parts and shit like that. Like, and they, yeah, it's pretty cool. Because there's a lot of characters in like because I liked the first movie. There was a movie and there was a couple of movies and there was a TV series and stuff like that that I watched heaps when I was younger. But there's a lot of characters that didn't actually get figures and that sort of thing. So people are going now and they're like, oh, this is my interpretation of the figure and that sort of thing like that.
I
So
remember there was like a gold
I'm
mask Bionicle movie or something, and one of the
yeah.
kids.
So the Mask of Light was the first one. Yeah,
Has that come out in the movies, like in the cinema? I
I
think
didn't see it in the cinema. I had the DVD.
I remember seeing that in the movies, maybe, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I
no,
I think part of my like love for Bionicle is and like a lot of people won't really know this, but a lot of the Bionicle names are actually um, moldy words.
yeah, I
So
remember you
like
saying that.
yeah, so like the Bionicle of Stone is his name's Pohatu, and Pohatu literally means stone and moldy, and like they're all like rooted in like moldy like legends and that sort of thing. So as a Kiwi, it's something that interests me.
Yeah, that is pretty cool and stuff like goes to your heritage and stuff like that, and
Yeah, yeah.
you
Yeah,
can kind of take
it's
like it's a way to put yourself into like culture, I think, or have your
yeah,
culture into pop culture, and it's like a cool way to like be familiar with that sort of stuff. I think so.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Well, it's so you've got your PS5. Is there any games that you're playing at the moment?
take a wild guess because I think you know exactly what I'm playing at the
I
moment.
was about to turn my camera off.
Welcome to
Done.
the Final Fantasy VII part of the podcast. For the next 45 minutes, that's all we're talking about is Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, no, that's the first game I installed. It took me like a minute to figure out how to actually get the PS4 to PS5
PS5.
upgrade version. Do you
Yeah.
have that same problem on Xbox, or is it kind of straightforward?
It's like literally you'll go, hey, do you want to download the better version? You're like, yep.
See, with this game,
It's literally an update.
yeah,
That's it.
it's what it was on this on the PlayStation. The only difference is, or the way I'll explain it and see if it's similar on Xbox. Is when you click the icon to go to Final Fantasy VII, the drop down menu says PlayStation 4. Instead of that page having PS5 upgrade, you got to go to this like a different page. On that page, scroll down. It'll say options. It'll say, "Do you want to download the PS5 upgrade?" You click yes. You download that, and it comes through. And it's a little bit of a fuck around. I'm
Yeah,
not
no,
gonna lie.
it's literally like because I have my automatic downloads and updates on my Xbox. I don't choose through my internet and that sort of thing. But literally, like, there's a couple games that have had upgrades that like I didn't even know they did the upgrade until like I logged in and it's like, hey, you've got Xbox Series X version. I'm like, cool. Like it just comes up with an optimized for Series X logo and you're done.
Have you played a
But
game on Xbox One that you have on Series X now that's blown you away at all?
not blown me away, but the one I noticed a big difference was, and I think I played it on this Xbox first, but it was the old version, was Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yeah.
It was literally just little things like the render distance was further, like the
Loading
water
times?
textures looked better, and that yeah, the loading times were like that. Dude, GTA 5 loading times, like shit like that, but
Yeah, that's
it
awesome.
it almost halves GTA 5 loading time. That's cool.
There's some long loading times, so
Yeah, even like the PC version. And apparently that's due to like an error in like the code or something.
I'm not sure if we spoke about it, but didn't so I think someone fixed that and they got a $10,000
Yeah,
grant from Rockstar. Rockstar does
yeah.
Grand Theft Auto.
I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast, but we've definitely talked about it.
But we talk about a lot of things that we should talk about the podcast and don't. So
Yeah. Well, that's like I listened to a podcast, and it was like one of the things they said a couple weeks ago was like the podcasters almost ruin their friendship because it's like anytime they've got a good story, they're just like, no, I don't want to hear it. Let's talk about it on the podcast. And it's just like, but I want to tell you this now. It's like, well, fuck.
it almost happened to us when you had that Stormbreaker theory, and I was just like,
Yeah,
save it for the podcast. And that was nearly 2 weeks ago that you've had to hold on to that because I think that's when you messaged me about it.
yeah,
And my first thing was like, this will be better as a thing that we talk about on the podcast and make
yeah,
content for, because I feel like it is and it's just sometimes the sad reality of being a content creator. Like I couldn't tell you about that PS5 story, how I had to save my mum and brother from
yeah, yeah,
scammers and just random stuff like that, where it's like I feel like it's one of the catch-22s of having a podcast.
yeah, yeah. Oh, sorry, I almost burped. No, it's yeah, it's a weird thing because I think I like to get me through like not telling it to you. I told like Luke and Keith, who are like the game training guys I work with, and it's just like
Choo choo.
shameless plug. But yeah, like just there's like little things that I'll be like, I have to tell Brad, and then I'm like, I'll save it for the podcast, and then I'll be like, if I save it for the podcast and we're not doing it for a couple of weeks, then I'll forget. So I have to tell someone. So those guys get unloaded with stuff, and I've got fluff floating around up to them.
Get out of here, Fluff. We're filming.
It's feathers because I've got like a feather blanket on my bed, and they're fucking annoying.
Feather
It's warm.
blankets are overrated, I reckon.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I didn't buy this blanket. Like it was like the
Fair
rugby club
enough.
when they organised where I was living and that sort of thing. They're like, hey yeah, we've got all this bedding for you. I'm like, sweet.
Now I feel bad because you got donated bedding and I called it overrated.
Oh no, it's 100% overrated. Like if I was buying my own stuff, I wouldn't be buying a feather one. All the feathers come out. They're like the little stems on the feathers like prick you if you like move the blanket the
What
right
about
way.
duck feather? Is duck feather any better?
I don't know.
And what about
Could
thread
get.
count? Why is a higher thread count so good?
I do like a good high thread count sheets. But yeah.
I like. Is it silkier? Is that what it is?
Silk is way smoother. Yeah, silk.
I don't know. I just buy bed sheets and use them.
Yeah, yeah. I understand.
I don't think we can go anywhere from here talking about bed sheets.
Oh man, let's get into like how fucking shit it is trying to fold a fitted sheet.
No, it's shit. It's the worst.
don't fold them. I have enough that like I'll wash and just put one on, and then the other one would just be like rolled up in the in the wardrobe.
Now I have a
I
trick,
have
right?
two. I don't. Yeah.
So you know the corners on the inside of a fitted sheet? You kind of fold them and you just tuck it and then you scrunch it all up and throw it in the wardrobe.
Yeah.
And you give up about halfway through because that's all you can do.
Oh man, this is the dumbest topic I think we've talked about, and we've talked about some dumb shit.
I feel like it's the most relatable. I feel like I've never met somebody who's been like, yeah, I love folding fitted sheets though.
I don't like folding anything to be honest. Like I have to because like my my wardrobe doesn't have like a rail for a coat hangers.
Yeah.
Well, it does, but like I don't trust it. It doesn't look like it would support any weight, so I have to fold all my like clothes and put them in. And I'm just like, there'll be so many times that I'll do like a load of washing, and that will just sit there like waiting to be folded until like I've done my next load of washing. And it's like,
Yeah.
and because it's winter and that we have shit weather at the moment. It's actually pretty decent weather now that we're in lockdown and we're not meant to be going outside.
That sucks.
Who would have thought it? But we don't have a dryer at home, so like.
Oh, so you've just been hanging up over
Yeah.
doors and stuff?
Oh no, like I just go to like a laundromat usually, but yeah, laundry, eh?
Welcome to the Not to Get Clean Clothes podcast.
It's definitely not something I love. And you know what I didn't love for a while?
The ending to the Bad Batch.
I was gonna say FPSs, but we'll go that one first.
How good's having a cheat sheet but not being on the same page?
Yeah, the ending for Bad Batch. It wasn't that I like didn't like it. It was just kind of like anticlimactic, you know. And I said it in our cheat sheet is that like I think it was only anticlimactic because like the ending of Mandalorian, both seasons and especially season 2 was so good that like I was just expecting something like huge to happen, you know, and it just kind of like didn't. Like it was a good series as a whole, but like, yeah.
Did they drop the ball, or was it just kind of one of those? Did it try and build up? Because I haven't seen it yet.
It builds up to like a climax in like the last 2 episodes, and I think it handles that well. But it needed something, you know, like it needed the cherry on top.
Like
And
because
it was just kind of like they didn't. It was just like,
what were you expecting? Because I like not spoil too much, but obviously, I'm assuming like were you expecting Vader or a Jedi
no,
or no?
I wasn't really expecting anything.
Fair enough.
But I was expecting something, you know, and what we got was kind of nothing. Like it was kind of like, we'll be back for Bad Batch season 2. It was like I feel like to me it felt like they were like originally they were given the okay for one season, right, and then eventually like right near the end they were like, oh yeah, you guys are going to get 2 seasons now. And it was like, oh. Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna like cut something off the end here so that like we have that for season 2. Like that's what it felt like.
Yeah, right.
And it wasn't like it was like they had a cliffhanger, but it wasn't really a cliffhanger. It was just kind of like, I think this person was dead, but this person's not really dead, and I think this guy's our mate, but he's not really our mate. It's like I enjoyed the series, but the ending was a wet fart.
Still worth a watch though.
Worth a watch. Worth a watch.
I'll have to get on
It's
it.
like
I'll have to watch
if you're a
it.
Star Wars fan and you enjoyed like the last couple seasons of
Clone
oh,
Wars.
sorry, if you yeah, you enjoyed like the last seasons of Clone Wars and like mainly those like last 4 episodes or whatever it was in season seven because it's very similar to that sort of style. I'd say watch it. Just don't get your hopes up too much for the the finale.
Do you think that's?
Yeah.
Do you think that's because like Mandalorian had such a good ending that you were expecting something? Is that what happened there?
Yeah, I honestly think like and I think it's series as a whole at the moment is like we've had so many good series that have had pretty good endings, and then like Clone Wars had a really good ending. Mandalorian had a really good ending. Mandalorian season 2 had a really good ending,
I think
and
that's.
then it's just like
I think
yeah,
Mandalorian season 2 ending was the peak of Star Wars for me too. Like I don't
yeah,
think. I don't think. At least, sorry, Disney Star Wars, because I think the first 6 films are amazing. But I think Disney peaked at season two's ending. I cried like a fucking baby when you see that X-wing, and it was 10 minutes of me being a massive like I'm crying over fucking like space samurai fiction. What the
yeah.
fuck about like what has happened? That's how emotional. Like I was so emotionally invested in that, and I don't know. I just felt like I
Yeah,
can't watch more Star
we
Wars
did
now.
talk about this before. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Uh, and that's like the emotion you had was how I had with Rogue One with the Vader scene. Like, oh, because I like it makes you sound like a bad person, but I was always like, man, the Sith are cool. Like, man, the Empire's cool, you know. But that's just I like red. It's just such a cool color. So and I like all their dark, like black aesthetics and like real sleek ships and that sort of thing. So that was always just when Vader turned up and like his hallway scene was just like, ah,
I just think Luke's always been the hero, and
yeah,
that's and I can't get behind the prequel trilogy. Sorry, the I love the prequels, the sequel trilogy,
equal,
because of how they treated him in that. He's not the hero. And I don't care about the whole subverting expectations and he's on an island and drinking titty milk from a fucking alien thing. It's just like, it's just. Maybe I do care, because what I'm trying to say is like
yeah, yeah.
that's not what the hero does. Like
That's not what the heroes do.
yeah, I didn't even try and mean to make that reference. I was going to talk about that before, actually, with Suicide Squad.
We talked about that in a couple episodes ago, didn't we? Or
I
did
was
that
just
episode get?
no, that I think we talked about that and that made the podcast and everything. I'm just gonna say, do you think DC's like policy about that sort of stuff, what heroes do and don't do you think that changed with the Suicide Squad at all because of how more relaxed they are with their characters now, or do you think it's just a reflection of like
No,
how?
that was an R-rated movie, so like they know
Yeah,
like majority of them's not gonna watch it.
yeah, fair enough. I suppose Batman doesn't
Yeah,
eat pussy in the Suicide Squad either.
yeah.
But
Uh, yeah, no, that's I think because like now people are lobbying for like the David Ayer cut of like the original Suicide Squad and shit like that. Like,
everyone's getting a fucking new cut for their films. As soon as you have a
fucking
shit
Oprah's
film.
out there. You gonna cut? You gonna cut? You gonna cut? But like it's a message to DC that they should just like if
Give a
they're
lot
gonna
more
like
freedom.
yeah they're gonna if they're gonna get a director in pick the director you want, tell them this is what you want. If
Let them
they
make their movie, I think.
yeah if they're like if they've got other ideas, scrap it before they start making the fucking movie. Like if they if like they've got ideas and that sort of thing, don't just fucking ruin their ideas because you want this sort of thing. Like I I I understand like with the Ayer like the David Ayer version of Suicide Squad. Apparently, they wanted they wanted Steppenwolf to be the bad guy in that, and
Yeah,
he was
right.
being used in Justice League and that sort of thing. So that's where changes came, and like Thingo, Joss Whedon had come on to Justice League around the same time, and so there is like factors that made shit have to change, but like fuck, like just have a roadmap, just plan out what you guys want to do and do it. Like
It's almost
It's
like
one
they
of
should
those
also
things.
make solo movies before their big Justice League as well.
It's
Maybe
it's the same
introducing
with
characters.
it's the same with like how you've got your opinions on the sequel trilogy of Star Wars. It's just like
Oh, I didn't even
if
finish
you're
my
gonna make
rant.
these universes, hey,
I said I didn't even finish my rant. We moved back. We
but
like
yeah,
full circled back to Suicide Squad before I could even finish my rant. But go on.
if you're gonna make these like franchises sort of thing, Marvel has set the tone on how you need to do it, and that you need to have like 10 years planned out of like this is where this is going. Like this leads to this, this leads to this, this leads to this. Okay, you've done this. Okay, I'm gonna incorporate this into that, and it's like everything is like an interwoven story. Whereas like I know with Star Wars, it was like they had originally three different directors sort of thing, and it was like none of them had seen the scripts for the other movies until like the movie had come out, and it was like they just didn't work together. It was like this is where we need to get to, but it's like they didn't talk about what was happening in the middle, and it's just like it's just stuff that seems like it should be so much easier than what like these companies are making it, and it's like I know it's because they're looking at like, oh, that's not going to make a good single film, and like we need to have a good film that's going to link into this film, and then they end up just making a dumpster fire.
One of the biggest things about the sequel trilogy is that I understand completely why Ryan Johnson is like, why does Luke Skywalker need to be on this island? That's what his whole question of why Luke is there in the first place. J.J. Abrams needed to answer that question because he put Luke on the island in the first place. Like,
Yeah.
it's just beyond comprehension. And the fact that he was supposed to have floating rocks around him, Ryan Johnson says, don't put floating rocks around him because my movie is going to be different in this way. And they're not even talking about it. They're talking about fucking floating rocks, not what Luke's doing. Like, imagine being fucking J.J. Abrams and being like, let's put Luke on a planet that no one's heard of, and then let the guy that after me figure it out. Like, alright, I'm out of here, see yous. I don't think he should have directed the last Star Wars either. I don't think he should have directed 7. I definitely didn't like Ryan Johnson.
I don't agree with that. I think they should have had like if they were gonna have J.J. Abrams, which I think like each movie isolated by itself could be a great movie. Like I say could. But like I feel like they needed to have if they had J.J. Abrams in the oh man I just butchered his name I don't care if they had J.J. in the first one they needed to have him in the second one and the third one so his story could be told the whole way through.
Yeah,
That's
I
how
agree.
it worked. That's how it worked with George Lucas and that sort of thing. Is like as dumb as some of the decisions he made, the decisions backed each other up in each of the films. And so like you can't really argue. You can't have these arguments now of like, oh, this guy shouldn't have done this and this guy shouldn't have done this because it's one guy that did it the whole way through.
I think the other biggest difference is how much George Lucas is Star Wars in this, like... Yeah, sure, he created it, but like anyone can create anything, but he is so fundamental to Star Wars and those first 6 movies. Like, go back and watch Empire, and go back and watch Yoda starting to train Luke, and you watch these puzzle pieces fit in of how everyone's connected and how Yoda and Obi-Wan are connected and how Luke and Leia are connected, Luke and Darth. You watch that, it's just like so fucking like it's just brilliance and precision and perfected. And he didn't direct Empire, but he was heavily involved. I think J.J. Abrams did fuck all in episode 8, and I think it's just I don't know, I get goosebumps talking about Empire. I don't get any feeling talking about that sequel trilogy, and it's such a shame because
there's some great moments in them. That's the worst part about it. Like visually I think there's some great parts and like story beats that would be very good if they were handled properly. Like the whole Kylo Ren like redemption arc sort of thing in episode 9. Like his like Ben Solo part, like the last 15 minutes or whatever it is, like that was like some of the best thing of the whole trilogy. some of the fight scenes were some of the best of like we've ever seen and that sort of thing. And
I'm gonna say it. I think episode 3 has better fight choreography. Fight choreography.
oh, dude, the throne room scene is brilliant, man. Like there is so much wrong with it, but
I
it's
don't
it's
like
it's
it.
just yeah. It's like there's a lot wrong with it. Like it's more me looking at it in like I don't get me wrong. I love episode 3. Episode 3 is probably my favorite, but like looking through it as like eyes of not a kid, there's like so much stuff of like these swinging around and these flips and all these sort of things. They do nothing. It's
You
like
mean that part where Obi-Wan's doing this and Anakin's doing this for like 8 seconds each? You're telling me that's not perfect?
So that's what I mean. Like the throne room scene was so good. I thought. Like I know there's parts where like if you actually watch like the background, there's like guys that like fall over that don't even get touched, and it's not like someone force pushes them or anything. They just like, oh, I missed my cue. Whoa.
You know the worst part about episode 8 for me? Oh, sorry, it's definitely not the worst part, but it's up there and it frustrates me so much. A lightsaber does not come into contact with another lightsaber in that whole movie, except, and I don't even think it does, I'm trying to remember if it does or doesn't, but it might. The only time it ever happens is in the flashback with Luke and Ben Solo at the temple when he's trying to think about killing him because he's turned evil or whatever. And that
I never even thought about that, yeah.
That annoys me in the Star Wars movie because I know the movies are about a lot more than lightsabers, but they're fucking epic and they should be used proper and respected.
I would hazard to say that there's another episode that's like that though.
Which one?
I don't know. Like I'm just trying to think, but oh no, I guess you'd be right. You'd be right. Like, because you've got your one's got the Maul fight. I'm just giving like random ones. Dooku fight. Obi-Wan Anakin fight. It's number 4's got
Obi-Wan and Darth.
Yeah. You watched that recently?
Have you seen?
I think I'd rather there be no contact in that one.
Yeah, but what it represents though, like it represents that Obi-Wan Kenobi isn't actually fighting Darth Vader. He's stalling, and Darth Vader's so filled with his rage that he's falling for it completely, blinded to see that anyone else is even there. Like, yeah, that's all he was there for. Because if they captured Luke, the galaxy's fucked. So, and Leia, I guess as well. Have you seen the fan made Obi-Wan and Darth
That's
Vader?
what I was gonna bring up. That was fucking cool.
It's unrealistic because of the way Obi-Wan's aged and everything like that, but it's
Yoda fought like that at much older.
Yoda's a space frog.
But like with the Force, anything's possible. Because if you argue that like he couldn't do that sort of stuff at that age, and then you go and watch Rogue One, the scene that's literally like feeds into that, like it feeds into that movie. Darth Vader's cutting, what you call it, Obi-Wan in half, like way quicker. Obi-Wan's walking in the door and he's throwing his lightsaber and he's dead. But
yeah,
I get like that's how it was done, and that's like I get all that, like, but like it's just like that. I like that fan made one just because it's exciting, you know.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
No, I 100% agree, and I think there's a good balance there between maybe something that we presented in the film and something of that fan made kind of caliber where it's modern and sleek and there's not 70s like power cords coming out into the sleeve of Obi-Wan Kenobi and things like that. No, I definitely think there's it's a nice hybrid to understand that these are powerful Jedi as well. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited for the Kenobi movie. That'll be cool. I know you got Pulled by the fan trailer.
Yeah, I got bamboozled by a fan trailer, and I lost my shit because I'm a huge Kenobi fan. And I was like, holy shit, it's the trailer. And then you're just like, he has a green lightsaber in the thumbnail. And I was like, I didn't even see the fucking thumbnail. It was the first thing.
It wasn't, honestly, it wasn't even like the lightsaber. It was just like they used like a episode 9 picture of him. It's like he's just old as fuck. I'm like,
of course they
so
did.
what? He's got an older when he's younger, and it's just like, what?
I do want to see what it's like. I hope he's not on Tatooine the whole time. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Because I do want to see some like cool, like samurai-esque adventures.
Samurai-esque. That reminds me, Star Wars Visions. Have you seen the trailers for that?
I haven't. I've heard about it. I know that the voice of Goku, man, I'm going to butcher her name. Nazira Toika.
Taika Waititi.
He's not Goku.
Could
you?
He's probably in it.
Hey,
he's
bro.
in everything at the moment.
Hey, bro, would you like me to turn Super Saiyan? Oh, don't worry,
Dude,
I won't hurt you. It's just a classic Super Saiyan 2 joke.
Everything at the moment. If he's not in it, I'll be surprised.
Yeah, that is true. He should be.
Suicide Squad.
He should be in the next Dragon Ball Z movie that's coming out.
But yeah, no, like Star Wars Visions, like it just like what they've got 7 different animation teams that are all doing like their own episodes and that sort of shit, and it's just bringing like that, like the animation style and Japanese sort of stories to a series that's always kind of been rooted in that. Like I think that looks really cool.
I'm excited. I'm really excited. I don't know why I haven't seen the trailer. I've seen bits and pieces. I've seen some of the lightsabers look like samurai swords, and I'm just I'm excited.
I know. Yeah, I know some people aren't excited, and like I talked to a couple of my mates, and they're like, yeah, no, I'm not. Probably won't watch that unless someone says it's good. And like, I'm keen. Like I love that sort of art style, and I love like the Japanese culture and that sort of thing. So that's gonna bring. I know it's almost blasphemous, but I'll watch the dubbed version, not the subbed version. I hate trying to pay attention and like read at the same time. It's just.
I mean, each to their own.
Yeah.
I'm never going to gatekeep someone for watching anime the way they watch anime because it's just such a stupid thing to be a dickhead about. Like, you should enjoy what you want to enjoy, how and when you want to enjoy it. So it's.
Yeah.
I feel like if you.
So I'm just getting fidgety because my back's sore. So don't. Yeah.
Oh, I've been fidgety for the last hour at least.
Yeah.
No, I just think don't be a gatekeeping dickhead and let people enjoy what they want to enjoy. I feel. Yeah,
well, that's the same word, but just don't be a dick.
Very good advice.
Words to live by. Don't be a dick. If you're gonna be a dick, be a big dick.
I feel like that's worse.
Where are we at time wise? What are we?
Look, I think we don't need to stretch it out anymore, so we can finish talking about dicks. No pun intended. Why don't you wrap it up this week?
All right, I can do that. All right, everyone. Thank you for watching, listening, however you're consuming this podcast. We really appreciate you guys. We're going to be trying to get a couple done over the next couple of days so that we can not have the gap between that we've had in the last couple of weeks. We really appreciate everyone that's been watching. As always, if this is your first time or returning and you haven't, subscribe, like, give us a comment. Anything you think we should talk about, let us know. We're pretty open. We pretty much, I know Brandon pretty much replies to anyone on the YouTube comments, and I always put my smart ass 2 cents in, so have some fun. Yeah. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.